So there's a huge opportunity for attention arbitrage in 2026. So whether you're a huge campaign, well-staffed, like Congress or U.S. Senate, statewide, whatever, you got a lot of money, big campaign, or whether your campaign is just you, the candidate, you're running for a local office, there's a huge attention arbitrage opportunity, which is available to you, which is like, it's such a giant, you could drive a truck through it. And this is not theory. 15 years ago, it was theory when Gary Vaynerchuk, amongst others, said that you could make more money effectively, or votes in that case, using the internet to communicate rather than traditional methods like, for instance, television. You could make more money on the internet than you could on the television. Right? That is now proven. We have just seen a complete nobody who happened to have talent get elected mayor of New York because he used this attention arbitrage strategy. But there's a lot of people, especially in the political business, who have not yet seen the light, most especially because it threatens their paycheck. Take a look at the scene from Moneyball, because this is a perfect example of what's going on here in the political field, where people don't want to see the future.
You can't deny his offensive output. He can play. And we need people that can play.
We're a baseball team. We need people that can play. Like, talk about meaningless platitudes.
Who do you want to talk about first?
And the answer is nobody. I don't want to talk about anybody, because we're going to start to think about this differently. We cannot replace Giambi by doing the same old thing that we've always done.
Billy, we got 38 home runs and 120 RBIs.
Guys, we're still trying to replace Giambi. I told you we can't do it, and we can't do it. Now, what we might be able to do is recreate him. Recreate him in the aggregate.
The what?
In the what? In the what? In the what? And there's a lot of people who actually know what that means, but they don't want you, the candidate, to know that what that means, because you're their whale. You're their whale. They're making money off of you. They're making money off. So they don't want you to understand that there's attention arbitrage available in the marketplace of ideas. They don't want you to know. I want to show you a video, and then we're going to talk a little what this opportunity is. I wanted to show you a video of Zohran from May of 2024. Let's cut to that video. Now, I got this on his Instagram. All I did was just scroll back in history and watch this video. Well, just a clip, because it's really bad. It's really bad. But here he is in May of 2024. Here's a quick clip.
Before we start this video, let me just acknowledge, yes, I need a haircut. So we have a primary coming up this June. So my team and I are preparing ourselves for some dark money PACs looking to punish legislators for opposing the genocide of Palestinians. So a few months ago, I asked you to take action and to show that my...
All right, so I can't even watch anymore. I can't even watch anymore. But amongst other things, it's really bad. Amongst other things, the audio is echoey, very bad audio. And the video clips, like, they cut off important. The editing is horrific. It's a single basic static shot in front of this brick wall, which doesn't necessarily change. Right? It's really bad. It's really bad. But that's okay. You know, that's all right. But what we have seen from, like, if you go to May of 2025, you advance a year, what you find is that Zohran got better. He got better with his at-bat. He did more and more of these videos, and he himself, maybe he was born with some talent. Maybe he was born with some talent. Like, not politically in terms of his ideas. His ideas are bonkers, right? Like, he's a commie, right? don't dig on that. But the guy's got talent. And you know what else he has? Repetition. He's done it. Repetition. He's made a lot of videos, and guess what? He got better. He got really better. And I would admit, like, I'm really not that good at this. I'm really not, but I'll tell you, I am way better at this now than I was when I first started to make video. Like, way better. And if you're a first-time candidate, you'll probably soon realize this, that when you start off, you probably should get better as a candidate. Being a candidate is a skill set. Making videos is a skill set. The more you do it, the better you will get. Zohran probably didn't come into your sphere of attention probably until like maybe September or something, but he had been plugging away making these videos, some of which, if you go back not that long ago, that's just a year and a half ago, kind of sucked. He was bad, but he stuck with it and he kept making them. And then as he got better himself personally, and as the campaign started to bring in more resources, he could apply more. It got better, but it didn't start that way. It started rather poorly, actually. And here's Gary V. I want to play a quick clip from Gary V. He's kind of the godfather, so to speak, of this theory that social can, depending upon your talent, he's famous for saying, the ROI of a basketball for him isn't that much, but an ROI of a basketball for LeBron James is like $1 gazillion, right? And it means a lot. Like, this is a tool. And if you're good at using this tool, you can be a billionaire. If you're not so, or you could get elected, right? But if you're not so good, not so much, right? You hand me a paintbrush, I might be able to make a stick figure. I like horrific artistry. Like, I can barely drop a stick figure. You give that to Rembrandt and you get that, right? Everyone uses tools. That you give me a film camera, you're gonna get great results, because that's just my thing. I'm good at it. Plus, I've had repetition. I've had repetition with it. So everybody uses tools differently. Take a look at what Gary V is saying about television advertising, which I think is a great analogy for political campaigns. There's a lot of political vice, not necessarily pitching television ads, although some people are, but other types of communication methods which just are way out of date. This is just a couple of weeks ago in November of 2025. This is Gary V on the efficacy of television ads.
TV typically works over the longer term, right? And that's kind of what
Who
it
says?
was built for. Well,
Because how could you possibly say that when the longer term of social, especially this last 3 years, doesn't have the ability to even have that context?
Yeah.
In fact, even more obvious, over the last 15 years.
Before he gets into the next point, which is critical, what he's saying about the last 3 years is that the algorithms have all been rejiggered to focus on what you're interested in rather than how many followers a particular content creator has. TikTok is kind of the leading edge of that, where they've developed a feed. If you like videos about NASCAR, you are going to get more videos about NASCAR, whether they're produced by somebody who has 1 million followers or 5 followers. It doesn't matter. By the way, this means it's a huge opportunity for new accounts or new candidates to get traction. You don't have to have 1 gazillion followers to get noticed on social media like you did 5, 6, 7, 8, 20 years ago, right? You don't need that anymore. You just need to have talent. Talent is the variable. And by the way, that algorithm has now been adopted basically by all the platforms. All right, go back to Gary about television.
The long term of TV, all the brands that are most invested in it have lost market share, not gained market share. That's
Yeah.
profoundly challenging to be excited about. No
It is profoundly challenging. Because if you're not committed to television because you're professional, if you're just looking at it objectively and saying, why would I invest? I just want to spend my money where I get the biggest bang for the buck. I don't care what platform if it means buying advertisements in Chinese cookies, the cookie you get at the Chinese food. If that's the biggest bang, then I want that. If you're agnostic about the delivery system and all you care about the ROI, then you can trash television. Not that he is 100% against television. You can hear Gary, he's a big believer in buying a Super Bowl commercial, for instance. So it has its place.
TV worked over the longer term from 1960 to 1980. There wasn't an alternative.
Well, the studies that the system one where I work, where we use like emotional measurement to predict how people are going to behave, right? So
yes.
Short and long, right? So we basically go, how do you feel about this creative, and are you likely to act? And we've looked at where TV can win is it gets more attention per second, right? So when you're scrolling through your feed, an advert comes and goes, you give it like 2 seconds, right? On TV, you might give it 10 seconds.
I would literally die on that debate.
All right. You would literally die on that. Why? Because everything that we've seen, every direct to consumer brand, President Trump's campaign, he doesn't really excel at video content. He excels at written content, which probably, somebody writes for him very close. Like if we see that video, you see that basically he says it and Susie Wiles types it into the computer, right? It's kind of like just it's that close, right? Trump doesn't actually type the keys, but effectively it's Trump to Susie Wiles to X, right? That's basically how it works. And he excels at written content. So you got to pick your method of communication, audio, written, or video. Definitely video. We've known since like Milton Berle that videos the more videos work better, right? Since Mr. Television. But when it comes right down to it, there are a lot of different opportunities right now outside of the television box or outside of the direct mail box to impact your electorate and get elected, and you don't have to do the same old things that all the consultants are depending upon you to do so that they can pay their mortgage. And what you really want to think about doing if you're going to buy into this arbitrage opportunity, like Zohran did, is to come up with a campaign which is video focused, most especially vertical video focused, although there's still a big role for horizontal video. We're going to talk about both of those. And again, it's going to be scalable. At the end of this video, I'll give you my advice. If you're just a candidate with no staff, I'm going to give you my advice for what I would do. But in the beginning, we're going to paint the big picture. Let's go to the chalkboard. All right, this is what you're going to need. Number one, you're going to need an absolute commitment to consistency. This is not something that you can turn off and turn on. You have to be absolutely 100% consistent with this strategy. If you're not consistent, just forget about it. Don't even bother. Go back to the old school and enjoy losing, right? But remember who Zohran beat. Remember who Zohran beat. He beat a former governor. I know he was flawed. I get that. But like, really, he beat an incumbent mayor. I know he was flawed. No, right. We had a lot of flawed candidates in that race, but he was thoroughly and 100% committed to the short form video content, and it paid off. So you've got to be consistent. Got to be consistent. You need a candidate with talent. We just saw Zohran from a year and a half ago. He stunk, right? He stunk, stunk. But you can grow your talent over time. You can get better, right? You can get better. It helps if you have some innate talent for communication. Of course, that would be the truth. If you're running for office, you should have some ability to communicate, right? I hope. And you're also going to need a D-Rock and a Babin. A D-Rock and a Babin, you're going to need this. By the way, this is the plan if you're a full-size, fully staffed campaign, so like from Congress on up. Let's go into a schedule about what you could actually produce on a daily/regular basis. Okay, so for short form content, right now the sweet spot is 45 seconds. I made another video, which you can see on this channel, about actually how to make, I'm going to call these TikToks, although I would say that these are going to be deployed on TikTok, on Instagram, and also on Facebook. Yeah, those three platforms specifically, maybe some other, but especially those three platforms. You could call them reels, you can call them stories. They're short form, vertical. I think that's the important part. Short form, vertical videos. Short form, vertical videos. 45 seconds is the sweet spot. You should be doing, if you're a full-size campaign, you should be doing 2 of these daily. You should be doing these every single day. You stink at it now, that's okay. We just saw Zohran stink. If after you make 60, if you do this for a month and you make 2 a day, you'll be shocked how much better you are in a month from now. And you'll be like, wow, I got better. My team got better, right? The whole thing, right? Don't worry that you're not great right now. We just saw Zohran. He stunk. He got better. He got great. Then on X, you really want to focus on your written content, and this should be in the candidate's voice. I read so much that seems to be written by some PR firm, right? And you know it's not coming from the candidate. Stop that. Stop. Enough of that, right? It's everything is, and the reason why they don't produce a lot of content is because every last thing is written by a committee, and like they're so afraid of saying the wrong thing that they're producing much less content. It should come directly from the candidate, maybe filtered through one other person. That's it. And it's got to be timely. What's the thing that we know about X? X is where politics happens. It happens rapidly, and it happens timely, right? If you comment on something on X from yesterday, that is so yesterday. So this should be very closely directed and immediately connected to the candidate. This will also keep the candidate, the simple exercise of this will keep the candidate well informed about events of the day, which is very important. Now, again, if you're fully staffed, you should also be able to produce a vlog of your campaign that I was just going to say should be a 5 to 10 minute long format vlog. And this would definitely should lead your YouTube channel. You can also post this on Facebook for sure. And of course, this is going to be horizontal as opposed to this over here is going to be vertical. You could post this on X, but I think your best opportunity here is YouTube for the vlog. Keep in mind that people now are watching a massive amount of content on their full-size television on YouTube. YouTube, not Netflix. YouTube is the most common app used on a full-size television. Think about that for a second. If you're not creating content for YouTube, you're missing a giant audience. You're blowing it. And since you're not interested in the ad revenue or anything like that, or selling or promoting your business or anything, you're interested in getting votes. You can post these same full-size videos to Facebook and to X, or even into Instagram if you wanted to. We're talking horizontal video. But be careful in doing that, because each one of those platforms has its own different kind of ecosystem, and you should try to post content which is specific to the platform. That's why, especially on X, you want to focus on written content, because X excels with written content. You want to be native to the platform as best you possibly can, but still get your message out. So just to summarize, for a full funded campaign, Congress on up, twice a day with the short form content, 1 day vlog, and X multiple times a day. And you have to have this organization flat so it doesn't have to go through like a committee for everything that you post, which gets us to a D-Rock and a Babin. You also need a D-Rock and a Babin. Jack, what's a D-Rock? A D-Rock is somebody that's going to make your videos. He's going to be your cameraman, if you want to call it that, or camera person, cameraman. He's going to be your cameraman. The reason why I use the D-Rock is D-Rock was one of the original Gary V cameramen for Gary V's vlog, the Daily V. And Babin was one of the very earlier editors of the Gary V vlog. And so a Babin is going to edit your videos and post them. Do not underestimate how much work that is to get the headline right, the tagging, all the things, the thumbnails. It's a lot of work. Do not underestimate how much effort that takes. The Babin section of it. Yeah, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. And obviously the D-Rock role is basically to shadow the candidate. And so when the candidate says something noteworthy, or the candidate meets a bunch of puppies walking down the street, which is a great thing to video record. All of those things, you break down on the side of the road, you run over a nail while you're running down 495 that's a thing. A lot of people wouldn't even talk about, but that's part of campaigning, right? That goes in the vlog. Or even a short form video. Hey, we're stuck by the side of the road. We drove over a nail, blah, blah, blah. People can relate to that. You get the point. So if you're running a big campaign, you need to start to think about, if you haven't already, either assigning assets to these roles or reassigning assets or re-coordinating. Because if you're putting money into, or plan to put money into, or heaven forbid you've already done it, if you've already spent money on television in 2025 for a campaign that you're running in 2026, I mean, I gotta tell you, like, you know what your consultants look at you as? You're a whale. Yeah, absolutely. If you've already spent television money in 2025 and you're running in November of 20, you're a fool. You're out of your mind. And so, you've got to start to reconfigure that. If you're starting now as a campaign, which a lot of campaigns starting to ramp up now, you've got to start to coordinate your campaign in a manner which is fairly flat and puts resources so that you're video-centric, especially vertical, but also horizontal video, that you're video-centric campaign, because that is how you're going to replace Giambi. Get it? All right. So if you're just one person, you're the candidate and you're running from some local office, you can't hire a D-Rock, you can't hire a Babin, what should you do? I'd go back to the first rule, which is that you need to be consistent. And I would try to create, and by consistent, I mean once a day, I would try to create one short form video a day. And again, that's 45 seconds, in the ballpark, under a minute, one a day. And again, you could watch that other video I made about how to make those. It's not that hard, and you could probably do it entirely on your phone. There's all sorts of editing software. You can make this video completely and absolutely on your phone. And don't worry if the first one that you make isn't great, right? We already talked about that. And if it was me, I would post this to Facebook and Instagram. If I'm running for some state rep, for instance, I'm not going to be on X. You don't need to be on X. You don't even need to be on TikTok. If I was running for a local state rep campaign or mayor of my local city or whatever, Facebook, Instagram, that's it, right? That's it. Because you, the candidate, because you just told me you don't have any resources, you, the candidate, has to conceptualize the video, has to plan the video. You've got to do all that. It's totally doable to make one of these 45-second videos every single day. You just got to start. You just got to start. Absolutely, positively doable. And I think you also have to think about, as the campaign gets closer to election day, you're going to get busier and busier. And what you don't want to do is stop doing this. You want to keep doing it every day because it builds momentum. Unlike a billboard, you buy a billboard and once you're done with the billboard, it's gone. But your social media builds momentum. Get it? It builds upon itself. It gets stronger and you get better. So you want to pick something that you can continue to do as you get busier as a candidate. All right, so you can scale this anywhere in between as well. But if you're not taking advantage of the huge opportunity, understand your opponent might. I'm John F. Gately. We'll keep you posted.